Hello everyone! This unit we are going to talk about motives and goals. And to be quite honest, I'm going to condense this lecture because I tried to record this one earlier and it shut down on me after 30 minutes and I was kind of mad about it. Speaking of emotions, a very state-specific feeling I had about wanting to throw my computer out the window. But anyway, let's talk about motives and goals for today. I want you to think about if you've ever made a New Year's resolution. I know there's a lot of jokes about New Year's resolutions and no one sticks to them, right? We're going to kind of talk about goals today and different motivations and how those are affected by so many circumstances. So I want you have to excuse me. I'm just going to clarify. I woke up with Bell's palsy the other day, and so the right side of my face isn't really working. And it's kind of affecting and impeding my speech. So if I trip up, just try to look past it. If you don't understand me, just email me if you need anything. Or call me. But anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. So New Year's resolutions. Have you ever had one? Right? Now I want you to think, did you stick to it? Or did you say, oh, there's always next year? I want you to think about the factors that can affect our progress. What's going to affect our motivation, right? Did you give up completely, right? We're going to look at all these different things surrounding our goals, why we value them, what motivates us, self-regulation, self-control, etc., as noted in our learning objectives. So looking at goals and motivation is very important because sometimes people use those synonymously. They are not the same. I'm going to look at self-regulation and self-control. Again, they sound the same, but they're not. And we're going to look at different antecedents and consequences that follow goal action and activation, and just look at underlying processes, right? So take the time to look at these. I'm going to keep moving. So goals are going to be a state of being, as opposed to motivation, which is going to be what pushes us, what drives us. Goals are going to be our mental idea of how we'd like things to turn out. More fancy way of saying this, the cognitive representation of a desired state. So think of any goals you have for this year, or maybe even this semester. You think, oh well, I really want to get an A in this class. Or I would like to be a nurse, right? Our goals can be different. They can be long-term, short-term, clearly defined, or more abstract. We're still working them out. And they can also be mundane. I have a goal today of going home and folding my laundry, right? That is a very valuable goal for me because there are clothes strewn about my house because I've been working so much this weekend. So, we're going to look at all these countless goals and what processes kind of underlie them. And so when we look at what motivates us to complete that goal, to want that desired state of being, we look at intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. So motivations that come from within us and then maybe come from outside of us, surrounding us. Think of external factors. So for example, getting good grades. If we want to get good grades, why do we want to get good grades, right? Is it because we're motivated to learn and we enjoy the material and we want to practice our knowledge? Or because we know that good grades will progress us to the next semester and look really good, or maybe for admissions counselors, or maybe we'll get a lot of praise from our parents for a good grade. That's an extrinsic motivator for that particular goal. And there's going to be a ton of personal and situational factors that are going to affect our goals, and it doesn't mean one is, right and wrong. People have different motivations. Let's say someone wants to be a nurse, and continuing that example. Maybe it's because they know that they will have a solid job because there is a nursing shortage with good pay. Or maybe there's another person who just genuinely wants to help people. There's going to be different factors that affect our goals. And sometimes these can be conscious or unconscious. So we can be aware of them or not. Think of a drive state. Our goal is to eat when we're hungry. So maybe unconsciously we are directing our motivations towards finding food. And I know hunger is one of those weird ones with drive theory because it does come to consciousness. But the point is, there are things in our conscious awareness and outside of it that are going to motivate us. Now, the origins and manifestations of goals. How do we adopt goals? What makes us commit? We have these ideas and these desired state of beings, right? Well, we look at their value and their attainability. So, how valuable is a goal to you? Excuse me for that click. Right? Your commitment, or how much effort you're going to put forth towards this goal, is going to depend on the value of the goal times the expectancy it will be achieved. So, like social scientists that we are, we examine other people in the same way we excuse me, I'm not editing that out. We examine other people and ourselves in the same way. We're going to base our expectancy that this goal will be achieved based on our previous behaviors and maybe other times where we achieved that goal or didn't achieve that goal. We're going to draw inferences based on those experiences, and that's going to affect our commitment. So in using my laundry folding example, my commitment to this goal is going to be based on the value that I put towards this goal. I value organization, right? So that's going to be a high value for me, is folding that laundry. The expectancy it will be achieved, I'm going to place that pretty high, because previously, when I've completed my work and gone home and done everything required to set aside time to do the laundry, maybe put on some Disney movie in the background, I've had good results with putting that stuff away. So based on my previous goal attainment and what I can draw from inferences on my other experiences of what works and what haven't, what works and what has not, like when I have other work to do, I can say that I have a pretty high expectancy that this goal will be achieved. So, obviously people don't work like a strict formula, but this is a good guideline to follow in planning our goals. Consequences of goal activation. Remember, consequences are just what follows after we activate a goal. Don't think of consequences like an inherently bad thing. Sometimes it has that negative connotation. But our goal activation, let's say I have a goal, I'm going to eat better or not consume as much sugar as I open this diet pop. That goal activation is going to cause us, it's going to influence our behavior and judgment. All right, no jokes. If I don't mean this of offense if you're on a keto diet, but I'm just going to use my sister-in-law as an example. She started a keto diet. This has influenced her behavior and her judgment. And it has changed her perceptions, feelings, and evaluations of the world, because she's in this mindset of the importance of the keto diet, which is just no carbs, high fat, high protein, right? It's going to affect how she envisions her food, how she perceives that food, how she's going to judge her behaviors, what kind of food she's going to cook, what kind of food she's going to consume, what food she's going to avoid. All of these things, because her goal is to stay committed to that keto diet. This is an effect of that goal activation. It's going to change our perceptions of the event. It's kind of reframing it, right? And it's going to have a strong influence. I'm sure you've had the experience with someone. If not, sometimes people, that's not a term. Sometimes people get really into their new exercise routine or their new diet. They want to talk about it all the time. They may even want you to join it with them. That's kind of a consequence of goal activation sometimes, in a more extreme sense, but it is influencing their behavior. It's all they want to talk about. Their judgments of food and other people's exercise routines, right? It's similar to drive theory in the sense that goal-relevant objects are going to be rated higher to us than those not considered relevant. So, maybe they're scrolling through Instagram and they find different keto posts of recipes to use, right? Maybe they follow the keto posts. I don't know. And I'm just continuing the keto example. Those posts may be more relevant to that person, whereas posts looking at potato dishes and other carb-heavy things might be not considered relevant, or they don't want to see them at all, resist that temptation. It's kind of that idea with the drive theory experiment and holding the popcorn, where the people had to rate the food and non-food items in levels of importance. And they found that the food items are rated much higher in the people who were holding the popcorn, because they're primed, they're ready. That's influencing their behaviors and their judgments, and it's going to have an influence on how they perceive the world. Now, self-regulation in goal pursuit is just this idea that the process through which individuals alter their perceptions, feelings, and actions in the pursuit of a goal. So if we use that keto diet example, they're changing their perceptions of food, how they take it in. Maybe they're reframing their relationship with food, their feelings towards food. Maybe that person will say, oh, I never liked chocolate cake, when in fact, they used to love chocolate cake. That's an example. They could be trying to trick themselves. And they're just trying to stick to that goal. Because a lot of times people engage in behaviors that aren't going to be consistent with their goal achievement. Maybe I decided, oh, I want to eat healthier. I'm trying to give up soda. Look what I did this morning. I went and I got a Pepsi. I'm a Diet Coke gal, but I'll stick with the Pepsi for today. That's inconsistent with my goal achievement, but here I am, right? We do that sometimes. But self-regulation, I have to practice this self-regulation in order to complete my goal. It's going to develop in 2 stages or phases, the deliberative phase and the implementation phase. So the thinking and the applying. With the deliberative phase, we're thinking about the situation. We're looking which of our goals to pursue at that time. We're very open-minded and realistic. We're trying to assess, okay, I really want to eat better. I'm thinking about all the ways in which I could do this. Maybe I could stop shopping for sugary things, not putting them in the house. Maybe allowing myself to eat. I'm sorry, I have seasonal allergies. Maybe I'm allowing myself to eat 1 sweet a week on Saturday night while I'm watching a movie to reward myself, right? I have all these situations I'm trying to think about. And I'm trying to be realistic because I know that I have had trouble eating junk food in the past. Well, sometimes when we think about things too much, we overthink them. And that scrutiny can hinder our actions. So maybe we think, well, it didn't work before when I did this, and it largely hasn't worked. So maybe I just shouldn't even try because it's not going to work. Sometimes scrutinizing can hinder that action. It's not 100% positive, but sometimes it can happen. But then we have the implementation phase. So now we're planning our specific actions related to the goal. This is going to be the immediate action. We're deliberative phase, you're kind of thinking about it, proposing all these routes. Now the implementation phase, you're putting them to work. Sometimes this can lead to closed-mindedness, where you're very narrow and only thinking about one thing. Or unrealistically positive expectations. We tend to do this. For example, going to the gym. Let's say my goal is to lose weight. And I previously in the deliberative phase was like, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to go to the gym. Very general plan, right? Well, closed-mindedness, maybe I'm like, you know what, if I just go to the gym every day for 2 months, I will lose 20 pounds. That is a very closed-minded approach to health. I'm not thinking about other situations and things I could do. And I'm also unrealistically positive, right? I'm thinking that all this weight is just going to flow off if I just show up to the gym. So sometimes we have a tendency to do that.